Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are going to be doing a new review of a new movie that I don't have any feelings on, so this will probably be pretty short. But I just finished not just finished, but today I went out to go see the new Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, there's not many to give. It's a very predictable movie, sort of just to give a tease of what I think about this movie. But so this will be safe for everybody to watch. But this was the most okay movie that I have seen in quite a while. I really enjoyed some of the characters. I enjoyed how fastly paced this movie was. One of my main thoughts while watching this movie, because we actually had a light on in our theater that kept turning on and off throughout the entirety of it, and I saw multiple people get up and talk to the management. I assume they talked to the management because all of them came back pretty pissed off, but in my opinion, I think it was a bulb slowly dying, so they needed to get a ladder or something and go replace it because it was flickering through a lot of the movie, and it was really keeping me from getting immersed. I gave it a 3-star on Letterboxd, but one of the things I really thought about throughout this movie is that they waste no time at all with exposition. Every scene in this movie progresses the plot, which I really appreciated, because this is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I was a little bit daunted by that one time because I just saw John Wick 4. Go watch my review, want to know what I thought about it, but that was about a 4-hour ordeal for me. I loved the movie a lot. I was hot off the buzz after recording it, but theater experience wise, that was really tough, very taxing to my energy levels. And this one, although it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, it did not feel like it at all, and I have to give them props for that. It's quite high budget. It looked very good. I really enjoyed the monster designs that we saw. There's a point in the movie where they fight a dragon, and that was my favorite part of the movie because they have to go down into the Underdark to retrieve a magical helmet, and there's lots of humor throughout this movie. This movie, I think this is why my rating is pretty low, is that the humor was basically a Marvel movie, which works in Dungeons and Dragons really well, but there were too many characters who were goofy, which I don't want to complain about because we are talking about Dungeons and Dragons, but just to kind of give a blanket synopsis of this movie, Chris Pine is in this as a bard, and he gets captured right in the beginning of the movie, and he's giving his background to a council, and he's waiting for a particular person, a councilman who is friends with him, and he's waiting on them, and he's sort of explaining his background, which I thought was a very succinct way for them to catch us up within 5 minutes about who this guy is, and it was very quick, and I loved it. And from there, he escapes, and he is wanting to reunite with his daughter, who he got captured because somebody foiled him, and I'm trying to get not to give many spoilers, but he is foiled and he's trapped, and this character leaves him to be captured, and he gets captured and he escapes, and he's coming back to exact revenge against this character, this antagonist, and the entire movie is them jumping from one quest line to the other, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It never slowed down for me, but what was going on, just to give a really short kind of impression of the movie. There were many points where I was sitting there watching it, engaged. The lights were flickering every 10 or so minutes, taking me out whenever that happened. And I would either, after something happens, I would either go, oh, that was a really cool thing. That reminds me of something that has happened in my own game. And then another part, and another impression was, oh, that was funny. And not really actually laughing. There were a few parts of the movie where I did laugh, but it wasn't anything like I was just out loud laughing. It was just like more exhaling out the nose. And I was just, I don't know. One thing to know about this movie is that it is PG-13. And I think that's where a lot of the root issues go, is that this movie feels very safe. And it is, because it's a big studio movie. And they wanted as many people as possible to go to the movie. So they had the rating be PG-13, when D&D very usually goes into R rating because everyone's cussing, or there's just ultra violence going on, because we can't do that in our own world. So when we're playing D&D, we're like, yeah, we cut the head off, and then we cut the arms off, and then the legs, and then we kick the head like a soccer ball, and it lands and decapitates somebody else, just something ridiculous. Because people roll natural 20s, which means when you roll a 20-sided die, a 20 is the highest you can make. So that usually means instant success for a lot of people, because it's fun. That's what makes D&D so fun, is that there's a 1 in a million chance. It's probably a much bigger chance than 1 in a million, but there's a pretty good chance that you will jump off a tower to do a killing blow on a dragon, and you roll a nat 20, and you just fucking, the most epic shit will happen. And in this movie, there are some cool stuff that happens with Chris Pine and the characters that we follow, one of which is a tiefling druid who is played by Sophie Lillis, who was in the It movies, and also Hanzo und Gretel, which I really enjoyed. That was the kind of art house version of that movie. And she was great in that, and she's great in It a little bit. Those movies in general I'm not big fans of. But there was some really cool parts with her, with the sorcerer, who is not a powerful sorcerer, and he has a lot of confidence issues regarding that, which I really loved. I loved that aspect of his character because it felt real. It felt like something a player would be like, you know what, I want to play a sorcerer, but he sucks at it. And I really enjoyed that character. And we also have the paladin, who joins early on in the quest and then kind of leaves for most of it. And I really enjoyed him because he is every player's kind of, I'm the main character, and I am the coolest guy ever, and also he's sexy and all this stuff. And he comes in and he has his big suit of armor and his sword, and he has just such a beautiful face. He's very pleasant to look at, and everybody is like, oh, like, who's he? He's like, I'm a paladin. I follow faith and order, and I am just the best at everything. And he gives just the funniest lines of dialogue, and he pairs up so well with Chris Pine. And we even have a cameo in this movie with Bradley Cooper, who I won't speak any more about the cameo, but oh my god, that scene was just so funny. It's a one scene cameo, but Bradley Cooper just, that was one of the biggest laughs I got from the movie, was watching him and the other characters interacting. So I recommend, if you're able to see this movie on streaming, to find that part, or at least on YouTube. But trying to think of any other characters. We had a lot of human characters for most of the movie. We have two antagonists, one of which is somebody who Chris Pine has a lot of history with, and then there's an antagonist who sort of works in collaboration with this other antagonist, but they're not really doing what they say and doing their own thing. And this movie is very Marvel like, is sort of the best way I can describe it, because it's set up very similarly to Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man is probably the closest movie to Dungeons and Dragons, and Ant-Man is actually one of the more favorable movies, in my opinion, in this MCU. And in this movie, all the characters are really great, but all of them are not snippy, but the crack and wise jokes, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It feels safe. I think that's what it comes down to, is that this movie feels so safe. And it's PG-13, so there's not really any violence going on. There's some fun fights, but there's no really stakes. I think this movie would be a very fun movie to watch with a group of friends that you play D&D with. And sort of having your own Mystery Science Theater sort of commentary on it, where you guys get to have fun with the movie even more than what I did, which was I was in the theater with my good friend, and the lights were flickering on and off above us, and then one half of the screen, by the way, one of the lights on the right hand side were on for most of it, just high enough to where it wasn't bothering us, but it was making the camera, or the not camera, but the screen, half of it was pink, and it was driving me crazy, and I was the only one who noticed it, really, because I was talking to my friend, and he was like, yeah, like, I could tell something was wrong with it, but I couldn't really see what, because I was distracted by the flashing lights right above me, because I was seated to his right, and so the screen was kind of this direction, and the light was over here, so when it came on, I wasn't horribly distracted. I mean, I was distracted when it came on, but I was able to sort of focus in more on the movie just by forcing myself to. But I think this movie just was not seen in the right circumstances. Maybe that's why I'm being so harsh on it, but I didn't give it a bad review on Letterboxd. I gave it a 3 because I thought it was average. I thought there was a lot of fun stuff going on, but it felt safe. Maybe I just want the most insane shit going on, of just the most unlikely stuff going on, or even some meta stuff. And this is something I was really hoping to see, was one of our characters dying, and we don't see them for most of the movie, and then they come back and they're like, hello, I am character, I am this class that you know, basically the same exact character, except the twins, but played by the same actor. I thought that would have been really funny. It wouldn't have saved the movie, but that was just sort of the stuff I was wanting to see from a D&D movie. Maybe it's high expectations, but I don't know. I feel okay about the movie. There's really not much else to talk about. There were 2 sections in particular that I really liked, one of which was the Underdark section. There's a lot of really fun parts in that. And also the most exciting part for me. I love this shit so much in D&D games, but they have to go converse with a dead body to figure out where this magical helmet went. And they just keep running into people who don't know or have conflicting statements on where this helmet is. And you get some really funny dialogue where Chris Pine will ask them, like, oh, were you there at that battle? Yes, okay. And they only have 5 questions because the spell that they have, speak to undead or whatever, or speak to dead, from D&D, that one is, you can only ask 5 questions or whatever, and they make a joke about how arbitrary that is, and like, why is it 5? Oh, like, I don't know, that's just how it is. And it's from the rule book. It's really funny how they kind of pull off that joke. But he'll ask that, and he's like, okay, one question down, okay. And this is when they're talking to the first guy, and the body is sitting there talking. He's raspy, and he has flesh rotting off his body. He looks great, and they're asking him questions, and they don't really have it down right. So they waste an entire spell with talking to this undead. So they have to go do it again, and they go all night long interviewing all of these dead people, all these dead soldiers. And one of them wasn't even at the battle. He was getting ready that morning. He fell and hit his head, and so they just have to go back and forth. Those two parts, the Underdark and when they have to talk to the dead, were my favorite parts of the movie. And that was when it was most like a D&D game, which I understand that this movie is a major Hollywood production with Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, who is great in this movie. She plays exactly who she needs to be. And usually she plays characters who are just playing tough Michelle Rodriguez characters, like in Mortal Kombat or Fast and the Furious, which we got a trailer for that, and I didn't really care. But she's pretty great in this one. She plays the same character she always does, but there seems to be a lot more depth than the characters she usually plays. So that was fun. But so there's some pretty major names attached to this, and the budget was like $150 million is the number I heard. And it definitely feels like it, and I understand that they have to play it safe, but I was disappointed by it. I don't know. I came in with really high expectations, so maybe that's my fault, but I really have nothing else to really talk about, and I don't want to drone on and on about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the night.